everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back. To those who are new, thanks for checking out my channel. Since I am working from home again, I'm hoping to have a little bit more time, and I thought I would do another reading vlog since I really enjoyed doing my first one. This time I will be focusing on big books that I am hoping to potentially read this year. I affectionately call the big books chunkies. Some people consider chunkies to be anything over probably around 400 pages, but for me I usually go with books that are over 500 pages, and that's what I'm going to do for the purpose of this vlog. So right now I have about 25 chunkies that top my chunky book list, and do I think I will get through all of them this year? Nope, absolutely not. But it's nice to know that they are, even on a list, and we will see how many I actually do get to. My list of 25 do not include a few of Margaret Atwood novels. Those would classify as chunkies. There's a few of them because I am reading those for the Mondays with Margaret series. So for the past 2 weeks, I have been working on this chunky. This is the Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie. And my edition comes in at 561 pages, and I'm reading this as a buddy read with Karen and Christine, who I am so grateful for, because if it wasn't for them, I'm not sure I would stick with it. This is my third attempt, and we had originally divided the book into 3 parts, thinking we would discuss every 200-ish pages or so. And 200 pages in this book is like reading 400 or 500 pages. There's just a lot to it, and after the first couple of chapters, I lost track of what was going on, and I just felt like I was never catching up. So after our virtual conversation this past weekend, we have decided to read and discuss in smaller chunks. So we are reading about 40 pages this week, which will bring us to not quite halfway through, brings us to 240 some pages. And I'm so grateful to Christine, who gave us some pointers on how to understand it a little bit better. So I will be using some of those tricks as well. If you've read this book, I would love to know what you think about it. It's going to be, I think, a challenge for us. We've had a good weekend. We watched a couple of movies on Netflix. We watched Into the Beat, which is a foreign film with English voiceovers. And it's about a ballet dancer who learns street dance. And we also watched This Is 40, which is an older movie, but I hadn't seen it before. And it gave us a few good chuckles, so that was good. We had a sushi night, and there was a beautiful sunset tonight, so I will share some of that with you. And I will check in later on this week as I continue to read more of the Satanic Verses. Hi everyone, I hope that things are going well for you. We have had a bit of a change in weather, so today was a perfect day to stay in, stay cozy, and have a hot chocolate. As I mentioned a few days ago, I am working from home again. I am 3 days in, and it always takes me the first weekish to kind of find my groove and get back into a sleep and work from home pattern. It shouldn't be so difficult, but for some reason it's not the easiest thing to do sometimes. I am also still, after over a year, having multiple and incredibly vivid dreams every night. They are not all COVID dreams, the ones where you kind of panic because people aren't wearing masks or they're too close, they're not social distancing. I've had 1 or 2 of those, but mostly they are just incredibly bizarre dreams. I know when I mentioned this once before, a few people had commented and said that they were experiencing the same thing, very different dreams, which I have heard is normal during times like this. I guess I just thought it would be faded away by now. But it turns out that no, it hasn't. No. So I also mentioned earlier that I am reading Salman Rushdie's The Satanic Verses. And I was really struggling with it. So I thought I would give you a bit of an update on that. Over the past few days, I went back to part 1, chapter 2, which is like page 11. And why not chapter 1? Well, because I had already read it 3 times and I felt that I had had a pretty good handle on that. So by this Saturday, the goal is to have read until page 247. So I am happy to report that I am on page 103 and I will read more of that tonight. And I'm also happy to report, maybe more importantly, that I have understood everything up to this point, this time around. One of the tricks that Christine had suggested was listening to the audio while reading, and this has helped me a lot to have both visual and audio kind of working together. And I also make sure that I understand as much as I can without continuing on too far. I found before, whenever I thought, oh, I don't really know what's happening, but you know, that's okay, I'll figure it out and I'll catch up. And it turned out to not be the case. And then I got so far ahead that I had no idea what was going on at all. So now that I know what's happening, I'm quite enjoying it. It definitely takes more brain power for me than the average read, but I'm willing to put the work into it and take my time with it as well. So I guess I can give you a bit of a synopsis so far, or maybe just at least for part 1, which is 4 chapters. I will try to do this spoiler free, and this will be a test to see if I can tell you about this novel. So the story begins with 2 men, Jabril and Saladin, and they are falling from the sky. Both of them were on flight 420. I don't know why the flight is called that. I don't know if it means anything, but I thought 420 was an interesting number to choose. So this flight is headed from Bombay, India to London, England, and the plane has been hijacked. What is tricky about these 4 chapters is that it jumps around from different times and even from dreams and reality. And in my first read through, I found it difficult to follow kind of when and where I was in the story. I think I got it now. So Jabril is a famous actor. He mostly plays different deities in films they call theologicals. Saladin has also done some work on films like voiceover acting. And the story gives a bit of background into each of these men, telling us a bit about their childhood, their parents, and how they got to be on this plane. Both men have experienced losses very early on in their lives. We learn of the dynamics of their relationships with their parents. Jabril becomes an orphan, and Saladin has an estranged relationship with his father that I think is a catalyst for a lot of his desires and decisions. Both men have several relationships with different women. They both leave their country of India behind and they kind of turn against it, and they also both turn against their faith. And there's definitely a spirituality about this book, both in the 2 main characters, but also in how it is written. There are themes of good and evil, reincarnation, family dynamics, and the Indian culture and identity. And dreams seem to play a big part in this story as well. So much happens, like just in the first 100 pages, that I can only imagine how this will turn out. I'm looking forward to getting caught up for our buddy read discussion this weekend. For now, okay, I think I'll stop there, and I will show you some pictures so you can see what the weather has been like. All of these pictures that I'm going to show you were taken in less than 24 hours of each other. So enjoy! everyone. The last time I checked in, there was snow on the ground, but spring has fought back and is here again. The snow didn't last very long. In fact, I've been out with the pups, enjoying the weather, the spring flowers, and it's been quite lovely. There's been rain, but that's okay. I am still working my way through the Satanic verses. This weekend with my buddy Reed, we will be probably just over halfway through. My book buddies that I am reading with are so good because if it wasn't for them, I'm not sure that I would finish this. We have basically resigned ourselves to the fact that we will never understand all of this book because there is a lot. I did go back and work through it, and part 2, which is called Mahound, as I was attempting to read it the first time, I didn't realize that it all took place in a dream. So knowing that the second time around really helped. This also seems to be the part that got Rushdie into so much trouble back in the day, and it caused all the controversy and why there was an order to have him killed. So once I got to part 3 called London, I understood more of what was going on, and this part focuses on when the 2 men are found after falling from the sky. Jabril is being transformed into an angel, while Saladin is turning into a devil. And Saladin gets arrested, and the men are separated. And then there's some weird stuff that happens about people becoming part animals, and it's a bit disturbing. However, I thought at this point that I was doing great, until I got to part 4 called Aisha, and I wasn't so sure that I knew what was going on again. So for our conversation this weekend, we will be finished part 5 and hopefully part 6. I have started part 5, but I still have a good chunk of that to go. I'm also starting to think about what my next chunky book will be. My hope is to choose one that won't be so overwhelming. Hopefully by the next time I check in with you, I will have it more narrowed down as to what's next, and I will be further along with this doozy of a book. I will share with you some of the springtime in our neighborhood. I will also show you a picture of a meal that a friend of mine made for me, which was a nice surprise one night this week, which was so nice. It is stuffed sweet potato. One of the sweet potatoes was like the size of a child's head, and it fed me for 3 meals, but it was delicious. So I will share all of that with you until I see you again. Hello again. It's been a while since I checked in, and I know I look a mess. You are all seeing all the various hair stages. I put together some storage shelving today, and this is the result. So if it had been shelving for books, believe me, you would have seen at least some of the process, but it's just for our laundry room. And so getting back to the Satanic verses, since last time I checked in, we have read part 5, 6, and 7, and I have started part 8 because we will be discussing that this weekend. We've actually decided to barrel through and just finish the last 2 parts, so we will be done and everything will be all good this weekend. This book is still an effort. I still don't understand everything that's going on, but I will tell you a little bit about what we have been reading. Part 5 is called A City Visible but Unseen, and it's the part, if I remember correctly, Jabril has gone back to acting, and it doesn't really last long. He begins to believe that he really is an angel, and he's still having very interesting dreams, and Rekka appears to him a couple of times. and they think that he has schizophrenia. And then part 6 is called Return to Jahilia, and it picks up 25 years after part 2, and it goes right back into Jabril's dreams. One of the main characters, Ball, is now in bad health, and he can no longer write. He's a poet. And many people are starting to abandon the faith of Mahund, which is about submission. So this includes Ball, and he turns against Mahund, and with Mahund gone, he takes on his 12 wives. And when Mahund returns, he sees what has happened to Jahilia, and he puts Ball to death. So this part is full of all kinds of dreams, and I still kind of find it very confusing. So much goes on, and I can't always pull it together, but like I said in the past, we just know that we aren't going to get it all. And in my discussion with Karen and Christine, we have talked about how it seems that Jabril has taken on this identity of an angel, and he's actually more evil than Saladin, who took on the identity of the goat devil creature. So morality is a huge theme, and I'm kind of wondering where that's all going to end up. And then in part 7, which is the angel Azrael, the story goes back to London. And somehow Saladin is back to human form again, and it never really explains like how or why. But he begins living with his wife, Pamela. They barely speak, and he basically wants to get back to his life. And then he realizes that he actually can't go back to the way things were. And he starts to find a way to revenge Gabriel. And there are 2 fires that take place that are significant, but I'm not going to talk about them because I don't want to give away spoilers. But one of the lines that I liked was from Saladin, and it's on page 416. And it's Saladin speaking, and he says, "When you've fallen from the sky, been abandoned by your friend, suffered police brutality, metamorphosed into a goat, lost your work as well as your wife, learned the power of hatred, and regained human shape, what is there left to do? But as you would no doubt phrase it, demand your rights." So I just think that that's pretty interesting, because he's had quite the ordeal in this book. And there is like talk about riots and stuff during this time, and there's political meetings and things going on. So I still don't know how this will all come together. When we have discussed it, we have several theories, like it could be that it's all a big dream, or that maybe they really are dead after all. So I'm still not sure, but I am looking forward to finishing this and for our final discussion on the weekend. I mentioned last time that I was looking at what the next big book would be to read, and I think I am going to sink my teeth into the Luminaries. I want to start watching this series, and I've had this book on my shelf for a super long time. Plus Christine, Karen, and I are probably going to do another buddy read, and we will be discussing which book we want to read this weekend. So I will let you know about that the next time I check in. Other things that have happened since last time, it's been a while, is there was Mother's Day. So I will show you some photos of the meals we've had, including our Mother's Day brunch. We've also continued to have really nice weather. It's lovely out today. So I will show you some pictures from a couple of walks, and I also did a puzzle that a friend of mine lent me. As you know, I love New York, so this puzzle was just a little bit of a taste of New York for me. And I will leave you with that, and then the next time I check in, I will be wrapping this vlog up. Thanks, and see you soon. Hello again, everyone. Yes, I have showered and I am in a much better state than I was when I last checked in. I am very happy to say that Christine, Karen, and I have finished the Satanic verses. We are all glad that we read this book, and I want to thank both of them because, as I've said before, I don't think that I would have made it through without them. And we talked about that today, that it would have been a DNF. I don't want to give away the ending of the book, but I will say that I was not expecting it to end the way that it did. All three of us have different interpretations of part 8, which is the parting of the Arabian Sea. And like the rest of the book, everything can be interpreted in at least 100 different ways. And Christine reminded me that I had said earlier on when we first started that it would be interesting to have a discussion with a more diverse group of people, since, you know, we were 3 white chicks trying to figure out a novel when we really don't have much, if any, experience with the culture. And I also think that if there is anyone out there who is ambitious and is a filmmaker, this would be a book that would be very interesting as an adaptation. There are several characters, there's several plot lines, there's some amazing imagery. The effects would be incredible, and it would be interesting to see it interpreted as a film. The series could run at least 9 seasons, I'm thinking, because there is enough in each part of the book to really keep it going for a while. Some of the themes that kept coming up in all of our conversations were good and evil, reincarnation, immigration, identity and homeland, religion both in general and also specifically some of the world's major religions, dreams, and then in this last part, forgiveness and conversion. And the ending, although it didn't wrap everything up and it didn't pull everything together in the way that I, now understood everything that I read, I didn't have that light bulb moment of now it makes sense. I was surprised by the ending and happy about it in some ways. There was a sense of new life and hope, and my overall take is that it is about self-discovery and that we are in a constant state of self-discovery. So some tips if you were thinking of reading this book is give yourself a lot of time. If you can read with someone else, it will help keep you motivated to read, and the discussion is rewarding and it brings things to light that you may have otherwise missed. And it's also okay to not understand everything in this book. I think you could go mad trying to figure it all out. It can be very overwhelming. Some of the things that helped me were to read while listening to the audio, and I took notes, especially in the beginning. If you do a search online, there are good resources for character lists and summaries of each part, and the character list is invaluable because there are a gazillion characters, and the summaries helped me a lot, mostly in the beginning, just to get to know what was important, and as long as I seemed to have a grasp of those things, then I was okay going forward. So that is a wrap for the Satanic verses. And I already shared with you that I think I am going to read The Luminaries as one of my next chunkies. My copy comes in at 834 pages, and Karen and Christine and I have decided to read another book together. And it also happens to be on my big book list of 25 big books I want to try and read. We are starting with Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell this week, and my edition is 960 pages, I think it is. Yes. So this is going to be very different. It's like the other end of the spectrum from the Satanic verses. I have never read this. I've never seen the movie. I know it takes place in the south of the US. I know there's a Scarlet and Rhett, and I know the line, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." And that's pretty much what I know. So I'm going in it somewhat blind, and I'm looking forward to reading it and seeing what all the fuss is about this story. And I'm also looking forward to reading The Luminaries so I can watch the show, and it turns out that I lived in the place where the author is from, so that's kind of neat. So thanks for following this vlog. I am going to leave you with an adventure that we went on this past Sunday. We went to the Lilac Garden in Niagara, which was so incredible. It was perfect weather. Afterwards, we got something to eat, and then we went to the beach to watch the sunset. So I will end by showing you some of those pictures from that fantastic adventure. You will see that the pups, Pandy and Jax, had a great time, and it really was a perfect Sunday afternoon and evening. So please let me know in the comments if you have read the Satanic verses, or the Luminaries, or Gone with the Wind. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of them or all of them. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.